Welcome back to another episode of Bad Directions, folks. Bad directions on the road, bad directions in your life. You're going to be reading some Reddit posts today. See who needs some advice out there. And as always, you can call in, leave a voicemail yourself. Number is 716-216-3252. Let's see. First post called, we got here, I want to be tougher. I'm such a people pleaser. When people get mad at me, my heart beats out of my chest. Confrontation makes me shake. I hate how I am sometimes. I've always envied girls who, quote, know their worth, end quote, and, quote, never let someone disrespect you more than once. Never let someone disrespect you more than once. It's quite the threat. That sounds like some Danny Trejo shit. I know my worth, and I don't want to let people get away with their actions, but for some reason I am so soft. Truly envy girls who speak their mind and essentially fear nothing because they know what they are worth. I want to become that girl, and I try and fake it, but no matter what I do, it makes my stomach turn and gives me anxiety. Well, confrontation is a scary thing. You know what's weird? I think confrontation has become even scarier now than it ever has in the past because of social media, because which I know social media kind of gets the blame for everything, which is pretty dumb, but it's with social media there's a built-in degree of separation when you're having an argument with someone online as opposed to if you were actually to confront someone in person, and there's a lot of arguments online today. Oh boy, am I going to be able to get into the right lane? Then they're obviously, there's probably more arguments online than there are people actually arguing in person. Step number one is knowing your worth. So I think that's a good call, step in the right direction for this person. Sounds like maybe that wasn't always the case. Standing up for yourself, standing your guard, it can be a pretty scary thing, but it really is the only way to change your life in the way that it sounds like this person is trying to do. What can you do to be tougher? I would say it's kind of like you just gotta crack that seal. You just have to break that seal, because I think the first time you do it, you really only need to kind of make an example once. Whoever these people are who are kind of pushing you around or just walking all over you, if you can build up enough steam to just once stand up to them, and it doesn't have to be a big crazy show. It doesn't have to be like, I'm finally broken, because I think that could be a trap. That could be a trap. You don't want to come off as crazy. You don't want to have a full mental break on these people, all right, fully, but just calmly and honestly let them know, hey, this ain't gonna fly, sister. And obviously it's a very different, because this person is a woman, and I have no idea what it's like to be a woman, to stand up for yourself. Oh God, gotta get all the way over. Freaking RG&E truck, worst company in the world. If I had to put money on it. Oh fuck, I don't want to go to Spencerport. I don't want to go to Brockport. Nobody wants to go to Brockport. Jesus Christ. Hang on. Sayonara, sucker. Here we go. Okay, back on track. Being tougher. I think you just have to crack that seal. And confrontation, again, I think that confrontation doesn't have to be as scary as you think it can. Confrontation is definitely something that can very easily get built up into your mind. But again, if you want to make this change, you have to respect yourself not enough to care too much about the person that you are standing up to care what they think about you, and how that relationship might be changed, especially if it's someone that you actually do have some kind of level of respect for or whatever. But it's also, again, this person talks a lot about wishing they were like somebody else and wishing they, were like these other girls that they've seen and things like that. And it's a good goal to want to improve yourself, but it's always a bad thing to try and compare yourself and try and solve your problem with someone else's solution. That's a bad way to do it, man. You're going to have to figure out what works for you, because for those people that this girl is talking about, chances are that they are just naturally the type of person who, for whatever reason, has this thing in them that does allow them to stand up for yourself. This person wasn't born with that, and that's okay. They can still achieve, this goal of wanting to be less afraid of confrontation, of wanting to, stand up for themselves a little better. They're already on their way, knowing their worth. This person says they know their worth. That's a big step. That's a number one step. But trying methods that these other, because the people who this person is looking at and who maybe they're looking to for some advice, they have no idea what you're going through. So you really have to step inside and make a plan that's going to work specifically for you on how to overcome your confrontation issues. It's not going to work out if you just try and do what these other people have done, because they're not you. The only thing that's going to work for you is what you can find out in yourself. So I would start with some introspective thinking first, a little more. Then, keep in mind that confrontation doesn't have to be a big, crazy explosion. It can be more of a conversation. And you know what? It doesn't have to be that either, though. There is a middle ground, because if these people are just walking all over you, you don't necessarily have to have a conversation with them where they're like, well, this is why I am walking all over you. You can just be like, listen, this isn't going to fly anymore, and that's kind of that. But yeah, I think once you crack that seal, once you build up enough to crack that seal, because you've got it inside of you, and once you build up enough to crack that seal, people aren't going to stop walking all over you once you show them that you're not going to stand for it anymore. But that's a problem I think a lot of people probably have. And fear of confrontation is, it doesn't have to be bad. Confrontation does not have to be a negative thing. Confrontation can, more often than not, be the first step in a lot of growth. Because a lot of times honesty will come from confrontation when it's handled in the right way. Do a lot of great things with that. Let's see what else we got. I saw a couple. Where was the one I really liked on here? Oh, I need a good excuse to quit my job. I've recently started helping my family friend out by bartending at their restaurant. Going into the job, I was aware the money wasn't going to be great, but they needed help, so I was okay with doing it. I've worked there for a month now. It's slow, painfully slow. I don't make enough money to even drive there and back. It's just a waste. Jesus Christ. My family friend that I'm helping is the most pushy person to exist, and when I tell her I want to quit, she comes up with 100 reasons why I should stay and basically guilts me into staying. So I need a really good excuse to tell them I can't continue working there. I'm considering telling them I'm starting an internship for college, but I don't know if I'll be able to keep that straight. Does anybody have any really good excuse of why I can't quit? Of why I can quit and can't work this job anymore? Okay, this person does not need, this is, man, you're asking for the wrong thing here, pal. This person does not need an an excuse. That's just more lying, which, I mean, that's just lying. What you really need is to just try and put your foot down with this. You're saying that they're the pushiest person of all time. If that's true, there's never going to be an excuse good enough for them, internship or whatever. Because if I were if I were a crazy person, the type who may be pushing you into trying to keep this job that is not worth it, I would say that, it would look great for this internship also to know that you also have another job, and any job that you have in the future, seeing you working 2 jobs like that is going to be great. So this is all going to really work out. That's what I would say to this person. It's not going to solve anything. When you're dealing sometimes with folks, there's never going to be an excuse good enough. So an excuse is not what you need here. I'll tell you that first and foremost. It's kind of similar to the last post, actually. You need to become more comfortable, I guess, with confrontation in a way. You really need to confront this person, because anything you say to them, they're never gonna let you go. So you really need to sit down and have an honest conversation with them and see where that goes. And then, it sounds like maybe you've done that already. So you just got to say, hey, this is not going down. This is not gonna fly. I've got to quit. I'm sorry. And you know what? It's tough when it's your friend that you want to help. I don't really know. I think this person who they're dealing with here, if they've started their own bar, started their own business, they're probably, because that's a hard thing to do, and they're probably way too caught up in their own shit and their own stuff with the restaurant. And that'll sometimes lead to a little bit of, especially when it's your friend, maybe some emotional abuse with their just helping you out. But this relationship has really changed, because it's not just a friend talking to a friend. It is an employer talking to an employee now, and that could cause a lot of that can cause a lot more problems on a relationship that was formerly just friends hanging out, because you always want to help your friend, but you gotta know what's best for you. And if this is your friend, that's more of an excuse, or it's not more of an excuse, more of a reason to be straight up with them and be honest with them, man. Okay? Because the employer relationship is the one you want to terminate here. You don't want to terminate the friend relationship on that. And unfortunately, in this case, lying to the employer is going to affect the friendship in a really negative way. That's not what you want. Okay, so you need to just be honest. What you're looking for here is not an excuse at all in any way. Man, a lot of these are just like having tough conversations, and I think that it's an easy thing to kind of, not an easy thing, but it's a human thing to initially like find a way out, try and find a way that's going to be the least painful for everybody involved. But at the end of the day, a lot of problems really only have one way out, and that's through some kind of conversation. Like I've said, sounding like a broken record here, confrontation doesn't have to be a bad thing. A lot of times it can be a great thing, and that's where a lot of growth can come from, if you handle it in the right way. If you kind of throw out some of these preconceived notions about what a confrontation is, and this negative connotation that so many people have with confrontation for whatever reason that may be, if you have to get that all out of your head. You got to throw that away and start from scratch and start from a place of, where do we go from here? This isn't an ending, it's a new beginning. How about that? Write that shit down, huh? There you go. So yeah, what this person needs is not an excuse. They really need something else. They probably are going to have that confrontation, as no matter how tough that's going to be. Let's see. Oh my gosh. This one here says, what are some jobs that people don't think about that require little skills and pay quite a bit? That is a brutal one. Oh man, a friend of mine has chronic pain condition, which makes it really hard for them to leave and work a regular 9 to 5. They want to work and make friends, experiencing, but don't have any clue where to start. See, this is a really good post, because this is not where I thought it was going to go. You read that sentence, and this is my problem, this is my preconceived notion. I thought this was like a lazy person. Like, what's something that, you don't really have to have too much skill at, and you can make a lot of money from. But if they're asking to help their friend, that's pretty cool. Working from home would be a benefit, and they want to try and move out on their own. What are some jobs that pay well remotely that people don't think about? They aren't looking for handouts. They really want to try and be a part of society. This is a great post. This is one of those ones I feel pretty bad about just, judging the headline of and going in on. But yeah, lucky for this person, a lot of things are moving remotely now, and you can do a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool, writing things could be good. It's tougher if you want something that is a little more consistent. But there's a lot of, I think, cool jobs on there. Maybe this person could even try going back to school remotely and get into a new field that maybe they've always wanted to try. So that is great. That is nice. That is not what I thought of. This one here, my husband wants a half-open relationship, and I want to know how we can communicate this effectively. All right, again, you know what? Got to learn the lesson from the last one. Let's not judge a book by its cover. Let's look right in on this one. Here we go. Let's see here. We have always had a great and healthy relationship, or so I thought. We have a child together. Our sex life is great. I don't understand where this is coming from. I have tried asking him to elaborate. All he said was that he is a man. He does not really want to talk about it other than the limits I'm allowed to set while he confirms whether the limit is all right or not. I can't say I'm opposed to the idea because he said he would be doing it either way. However, this whole thing is making me feel quite emotional. Jesus Christ. Wow. I haven't been with anyone else sexually, and I cannot see myself wanting sex out of our relationship. Therefore, opening the relationship both ways is not really an option. Jesus Christ, we cannot get a divorce, or due to our son being so young, I don't have the finances for it. Sorry, might be a cop coming up. Okay. I don't have the finances for it, and it is not acceptable in our culture, religion, neighborhood. I also don't want this. I also do not want this being the option. I would love to hear what these relationships are like. In the comments, any advice is welcome. Man, this sucks. It does. First and foremost, it sounds like this dude is holding this person hostage, kind of here, especially emotionally hostage. Giving that ultimatum, I'm going out to fuck people either way. It is happening whether you want it to or not. But that's also, it also sucks because to go in more about this emotional abuse kind of thing that I'm saying here is so the guy is saying, okay, I want to have a conversation about what the limits are, but then he's saying that he can veto any limits that you set. That's crazy. This guy just wants to go out there and try and fuck around. And chances are this dude is probably going to go out of this relationship. Chances are this guy's thinking man, if only I could be out there, I'd be getting all this pussy. Oh my God, it'd be so great. Chances are he's going to go out there and find out how actually difficult that is, and he is really not going to have a good time with it. And if you are opposed to this, and this guy is saying, well, you know what, too bad, so sad, like, there are this guy, oh man, this guy is not the type of, it sounds like he's not as committed to the relationship between the two of you. Now, here's the thing. From what I've heard, there's a lot of open relationships that end up being really great, that people have a great time with, that both partners can find some sort of satisfaction out of. It doesn't sound like this guy really cares about that aspect. It sounds like this guy really only cares about the having sex with other people aspect, and chances are potentially that this guy is going to go out there and it's not going to lead to any good things with this relationship that the two of them currently have going on. Because I think, maybe this guy potentially is kind of thinking to himself or whatever, maybe going to try to make this argument that, like, well, I just need to get this out of my system, and then I'd come back, be a better husband, be a better father, all this stuff. And I think for some people that's true, but it doesn't sound like that's the kind of guy that this person is. And he really just kind of wants to go out there. And I don't know how old these folks are. Her saying that she's never had sex with anything else, I don't know if that's the same kind of situation with this guy, but it does sound like maybe they have had, maybe they've been in this relationship since they were like pretty young and stuff like that. Which again, this guy's going to go out there and be like, oh boy, I'm really kind of in over my head. It sounds like he just wants to fuck around and is not going to necessarily bring anything back to the relationship that's going to benefit the relationship. Couples therapy, number one, because this guy, I mean, if you're being upfront with him saying like, hey, I'm not against this idea, but can we just elaborate? Like, this dude's kind of a scumbag. Like, this is not a good guy, not a good communicator. I mean, if you are that dedicated to this relationship with a guy who it sounds like is not as dedicated to you as you are to him, then yeah, give couples therapy a shot, keep trying different things. But it does sound like this dude inherently, like, is not committed to making this relationship work, and that's fucked up. But you don't want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, right? So you're gonna have to figure that out, and unfortunately it might lead to bad stuff, and that sucks. But listen, you're gonna be stronger on the other end of it, and you're gonna find somebody out there who maybe will be as dedicated to building a life with you as you are to building a life with them. So give it a shot. So I'm not saying open relationships can't really benefit people, but if this guy's not even willing to communicate with you what he actually wants, it's a bad situation, man. This guy's only worried about one thing, and it's not you, and it's not your kid, and that's a problem. So yeah, maybe, you can give things a shot, you can give couples therapy a shot, but if this person is not willing to work with you, then you gotta just let them go, because chances are they're gonna run out anyways. So, fuck, that's brutal. That's gonna be a tough one. But I do think that that's gonna be the last one on here. Man, a lot of people having trouble with confrontation out there. And honestly, it sounds like the person on the other side of that last post is having trouble with confrontation. Well, maybe not so much. That's kind of a cop-out for them. Sounds like they're just kind of a scumbag asshole who, like, is just worried about pussy more than is worried about their own kid. So that's pretty fucked up. You got to get out of that relationship. Talk to if you have any close friends or family, try and talk to them. Maybe they can help you find a way out of that. But if you have any of your own problems, of course, you can always call in 716-216-3252. Bad directions. Thank you for listening, subscribing to the Patreon. tell other folks about it. And if you're watching this one for free on YouTube, hit the link in the episode description. Check the Patreon out. We've got a lot of really cool stuff on there. Man, bad directions in life, bad directions on the road. A little bit of both today. Goodness gracious. Man, this is one of the ones I feel a little heavy after, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's what bad directions is all about, folks. I got to figure out what exit to take. So until next time, thanks for subscribing, tuning in, and checking us out on the Patreon.